Well, for more, let's go to Tel Aviv. Itamar Rabinovich is a former Israeli ambassador to the U.S. in the 1990s. He's president of the Israel Institute. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
My pleasure.
It's the second time inside of a month that we've had this high casualty toll in the West Bank. What's it like where you are today in Tel Aviv?
Tel Aviv is very quiet in that regard. Tel Aviv is unquiet in Israeli domestic terms, but in Israeli-Palestinian terms, Tel Aviv, fortunately, is very quiet.
Is this something people talk about, what's going on with Gaza, with the West Bank, or is it all about, as you say, the domestic politics right now and the standoff over the Constitution?
That is the primary issue, but the main headlines are the incident in Nablus, and then the rockets from Gaza and the counterattack. This still is the first item on the news, and people obviously are aware of it and discuss it. And so yes, it's very much with us.
With so many of Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet members who live in Jewish settlements, what's next?
Well, obviously we now have a very right-wing nationalistic government with much tougher and more ambitious policy with regard to the West Bank, and we will have yet to see how it plays out. At this point, as I mentioned earlier, the accent is on intra-Israeli issues, but obviously a right-wing government on the one hand, and Hamas from Gaza determined to bring down the Palestinian Authority and take over the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, I think we are on a collision course.
An escalation course. While it's all happening, it's no longer like in the past. Other Arab states seem indifferent. We have news this Thursday that Oman is opening its airspace to Israeli commercial carriers. Do the Palestinians, if they're feeling more isolated, what does that mean?
Well, the signing of the Abraham Accord, as well as the fact that during the previous government, not this government, an Arab party joined the government coalition, meant that to some extent the Arab minority in Israel and several Arab states decided that it was time to move on and look after their own interests. The Gulf countries are primarily preoccupied with the Iranian threat and with their own issues, but up to a point. I mean, if things escalate, and there is a massive operation and bloodshed either in the West Bank or Gaza, it could affect the implementation of the Abraham Accord and further movement in relations with countries like Oman that had not signed the Abraham Accords, but does have a relationship with Israel.
One final question. You're a former ambassador to the United States. So when you see in the U.S. now that there's growing pushback against Israel building settlements in the West Bank, do people where you are care? Are they indifferent to public opinion in the U.S.?
Well, people are not. The government is. I mean, there's a change. 20, 30 years ago, I was ambassador in the 1990s. Relationship with the United States, relationship with the president, American public opinion, American Jewish public opinion, were uppermost in the minds of the political class in Israel. Mr. Netanyahu takes a lesser view. He has a relationship with the fundamentalists in the United States, and he's been in power a long time, and he's become very confident, and he's less impressed by American pressure than was the case in years past.
Itamar Rabinovich, so many thanks for speaking with us here on France 24.
My pleasure.